Statement by Vice President Kamala Harris about the protest yesterday in D.C. Yesterday at Union Station in Washington, D.C., we saw despicable acts by unpatriotic protesters and dangerous hate-fueled rhetoric. I condemn any individuals associated with the brutal terrorist organization Hamas, which has vowed to annihilate the state of Israel and kill Jews. Pro-Hamas graffiti and rhetoric is abhorrent, and we must not tolerate it in our nation. I condemn the burning of the American flag. That flag is a symbol of our highest ideals as a nation and represents the promise of America. It should never be desecrated in that way. I support the right to peacefully protest, but let's be clear, anti-Semitism, hate, and violence of any kind have no place in our nation. Let me address this. Nowhere in this statement did you address the war criminal that was allowed to address Congress. You know, the reason for the protest to begin with? There was easily 20,000 people there. If one person put some graffiti on the Columbus Memorial, which, by the way, why do we even have a Columbus Memorial? He was a colonizing, torturing tyrant. Take that shit down. But I digress. If one person put some graffiti on the Columbus Memorial that you don't agree with, that means you ignore the other 19,999 people that were pissed off that Netanyahu was addressing our Congress. And oh, by the way, in his address to Congress, he called the protesters useful idiots. American Congress people were gleefully, joyously clapping for that. Which brings me to this part. The highest ideals as a nation and represents the promise of America. Let me tell you the highest ideals of America. It's free speech and free expression. As a combat veteran of 2 theaters of conflict, I say this very loud and very clear. Burning the American flag is patriotic. Condemning free speech is not. That flag doesn't represent our highest ideals. We do. We, the people, are America. Not a flag, not an imaginary border. We, the people. And nowhere in this statement do I see the condemnation of Israel's actions in Gaza. Nowhere in this statement do I see the condemnation of allowing Netanyahu to speak in front of American Congress while he has an international warrant for being a war criminal. But I see the condemnation of American citizens practicing our First Amendment right. You know what desecrates our flag? You know what desecrates American ideals? Sending military aid to a genocide, inviting war criminals to Congress. Too many people don't understand what free speech and free expression looks like. Forcing people to adopt your ideas of what is patriotism is not patriotism. Forced patriotism is fascism. As a veteran who thinks that the First Amendment right of freedom to protest, freedom to assemble, freedom to express is so important to us as a nation, this shit right here has me pissed.